Well, it's all new. This is just a rehearsal tape from 2 years before they recorded their first album. So they're just running songs, and they're all songs, if you've got that first Aerosmith album, like Dream On's on there, Mama Kin. It's really, really cool if you're into Aerosmith. It's really interesting. Actually, it's interesting anyway.
It's a great band at a time when they were kind of at the peak of their powers. So good stuff. All right, let's move on. A soundtrack, Mick, from a real cult movie. It's Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. And this is something, as I understand it, the fans have been waiting for a long time, right?
Yeah, I was really surprised to find out that this was not a vinyl release before.
Supposedly, Cousteau and his cronies invented the idea of putting walkie-talkies into the helmet. But we made ours with a special rabbit ear on the top so we could pipe in some music.
The Sue George covers of all the David Bowie songs in Portuguese had a vinyl release before, but this is the soundtrack to Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, originally intended to be a summer release, pushed to now because of all the supply chain issues, but it's really good. So you've got not just the Sue George covers from Steve Zissou of the Bowie songs in Portuguese, but all the other songs from the movie too. It's really, really cool. And if you haven't heard the covers, they're phenomenal.
All right, well, let's move on to a Fleetwood Mac release. Speaking of stuff that people may have heard before or may not have heard before, certainly a different kind of version. Fleetwood Mac, the name of it is Alternative Live or Alternate Live. What have we got here, Chris?
They've released live albums before, and so these are alternate versions of songs from those same tours. So it's all stuff from late 70s, early 80s. All the hits, it's all live. It's weird because they're a little rougher, maybe, a little ragged in places. It's cool.
On to another one that'll appeal to a certain slice of the audience, not to everyone, but Weird Al Yankovic has a huge following. He's got a new release. It's called Beat on the Brat, and it's Weird Al and Osaka Pop Star. What have we got here, Mick?
Yeah, so you said a niche release that won't appeal to everybody. I feel like that's what I come on this show to talk about all the time. So Osaka Pop Star is a punk supergroup fashioned after anime fandom, and they recorded with Weird Al. They were the backing band for Weird Al's version of Beat on the Brat for the Dr. Demento Covered in Punk compilation that we talked about a couple of years ago. And now this is expanded versions of Beat on the Brat with Weird Al by himself, Osaka Pop Star by themselves. And it's just really cool because the intersection between like punk music and novelty music, I think is wider than some people would care to admit, because it's all sort of like, outsider countercultural stuff. So it's cool. It's just really cool.
Chris, we've already hit on new releases from Fleetwood Mac and from Aerosmith, or new old releases, I guess would be a more accurate way to put them. We'll round it out with something similar from Carole King. This is a BBC live performance from 1971. I feel the sky tumbling down.
Yeah, it's exactly that. She's sitting there playing piano, playing her hits. It's from around the time Tapestry came out, 1971. So, there's a really interesting version of You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, and I Feel the Earth Move. It's on there. James Taylor comes out and just backs her up on guitar, doesn't sing, and it's a neat little thing.